Hmm. What's up? What is up? Okay, I'm doing YouTube live from the computer for the first time. This is pretty cool. And as I get set up here, let's have a Sunday chat. So, via email, we've been talking recently. And if you have been reading my emails, if you've been watching my social recently, you realize there are a few things going on in my neck of the woods. And the first thing is we're talking about leveling up your life. This is what the context for our whole conversation has been around. And today I wanted to get on live and I wanted to break down what it actually means to level up your life. You know that we're doing this training in a few days here later this week called Leveling Up Your Life, and I'm giving different strategies for improving your physical health, your mental health, and your financial health. You know, it's a full body approach. But I thought that rather than jump right into that training, which is later this week, I should give some context for it because it's really great to actually know what you're looking for before you start learning something new. It's almost like if you read a book and you kind of read through the table of contents first. You read the forward first. You get to understand what the book is about before you studying it because the context gives you it gives you a running start at being able to understand the material at a more deep level. And you can spend the time on Wednesday when this training comes up, and the link is down here in the description. You can go to alphamentorship.com/training. Whenever you're watching this, there will be a link there. But the training this Wednesday will be much easier to digest if you have some of this initial information first. And today I wanted to talk to you about what leveling up your life actually looks like. It's great to have that phrase. It's great to say that thing, that phrase. But what does it actually mean? You know, what does it mean to improve your life in multiple different areas? What would some of those areas be? So what I wanted to do today was talk about the 4 blind spots that I see very ambitious people encounter. And you know, I think one of the misconceptions about ambitious people, about um, about successful people, even, is that they have it all figured out. And what you really need to understand is that successful people go through just as many struggles as people who aren't as successful. And the ability for them to be successful isn't necessarily about them encountering challenges, it's overcoming those challenges. And with challenges, you know, typically you're overcoming what were previous blind spots. And so, what are the 4 blind spots that highly ambitious people, most likely like you, encounter? And how do we first identify those blind spots and then solve for those blind spots later? Well, today I'm going to tell you how to at least identify those blind spots because that's really the first key. It's like awareness first. So, what are the 4 blind spots? Um, well, let's just dig right into them. First blind spot is your body. How do we know this? I mean, highly ambitious people sometimes go so hard that they don't actually give their physical form the attention that it needs. Um, Most people don't pay attention to the condition of their body until it's in disrepair. Most people ignore the gradual warning signs that their body is not healthy. I mean, if we even look at the earth, you know, on a meta level, humans treat their body like they treat the earth and vice versa. And we haven't been treating the earth well. It's been giving us gradual warning signs and now it's on fire. You know, that's something that's really happening. And the same thing's happening inside of many of our bodies. You know, we typically don't pay attention to things until they hurt. But pain is often an indicator that something has been going on for a while. And because of this, because of the fact that we don't actually take time to understand our body, to understand the signs it's giving us, to give it regular attention and care, oftentimes we become slaves to our body. And this is in many different contexts. You know, for some people, that would be that we have illnesses that we're not attending to first and foremost, that we have injuries that are nagging that we're not typically, attending to. We have, concerns about our weight or our internal chemistry that we need to work on, but we're not doing. And because we don't pay attention to those areas, they go from a dull ache and a dull moan to a roaring fire to a scream. And when they move from just important to being both important and urgent, we have to put all of our focus on them. And then sometimes it's too late. They always say, you either pay for your health in advance by being proactive, or you pay for it later by being reactive, essentially. But you're always going to have to pay for it. And so health is a big blind spot. And we see successful people all the time, highly ambitious people who they're not eating well, they're smoking too much, they're not moving enough, they're not exercising, they're overweight. And there's no correlation between necessarily having to be in great physical condition and be economically successful, or even personally successful. But it's a blind spot that even highly ambitious people often get caught up in. And if you want to level up your life truly, you can't level up your life without having some awareness of what's going on in your physical body. So that's the first piece of this. Okay. That's the first blind spot. We're going through 4 blind spots of highly ambitious people. And if you want to know the solution to these blind spots, well, check out the free training I'm putting on later this week, alphamentorship.com/training. The second blind spot here, highly ambitious people have the same blind spot as every other person on earth, and it's your mind. That's the second blind spot. Your mind is the master. What James Allen said, mind is the master that molds and makes, and man is mind, and thinking what he will brings forth 1,000 joys, 1,000 ills. He thinks in secret and it comes to pass. Mind is but a looking glass. And basically, to me, what that means is that what you see in your mind is what becomes a reality. And we can't underestimate the power of that. And the thing is, most people are never taught how to think, because our parents weren't really taught how to use the mind. We weren't taught about really the power of our subconscious, about how to utilize the creation of intentional, habits, and how to regulate our emotions. All of these things are learning to control and to work with our minds, not just to force it into a position, but to work with it. And as the same thing with your physical body. You want to be able to understand it first, and then master it, and then evolve it. And so most of us we have a blind spot around how to work with our own mind. Forget about meditation. Most of us can't even, sit still for half a minute without a thought coming and bombarding us, or feeling some sort of anxiety or fear. Ambitious people as well. So this is a blind spot. And one way to think of it is, well, that's just the way my mind is. It's just the way it races. That's how it's always been. But really, the way to be thinking about this is, how do I create a better environment where my mind is coming from a place of more power, less fear, less anxiety? And you can learn that. That's something you can learn to evolve. You can learn to level up. So that's another blind spot. Big one, though. Let's talk about the third blind spot. Really, it's your relationships. Highly ambitious people can be in great shape, and they can be of a focused, dedicated mind, working on their goals and feeling clear and calm and collected most of the time. And your relationship still can be in the trash. It's really interesting too. Watching a podcast with Will Smith, and he was basically just saying how, at the point where he was the biggest celebrity in the world, his family hated him the most. And I think about that balance. If you're on your A game, does it just have to be you alone? Do you have to be so dedicated to your work and so focused on your body and your mind that you block out possibilities of making real relationships with people? No, you should have real, deep and meaningful relationships. And really, I think it's 3-pronged when it comes to relationships. The first and most important relationship is the relationship you have with yourself. You want to have a strong relationship with yourself. You want to be able to know yourself, get to know yourself if you don't already, and trust yourself. But also, you want to have, when you're ready, some sort of romantic partner as well. You want to have someone who is an intimate partner, who is by your side, who's guiding you. You might already be in a relationship, or you might be in between them. You might be looking, or you might not be. But it's a quality of life that you can't get from anywhere except from an intimate partner. And you're also going to want, at some point, most likely, to have friends and a social life and a personal support system. And these are all forms of relationships that we have to nurture. And it can be a blind spot because you're working so hard in your body, you're working so hard in your mind, you're working so hard in your business, that you just forget about relationships. And that's a big no-no, because your body and your mind are foundational, and so are your relationships. You'll find that just like everything becomes about health when you don't have health, if you don't have relationships for a while, you might not realize that you feel alone, but then it comes in waves. Um, and so it's useful, especially for your mental health, to have people who are by your side who support you. And if you don't have those relationships, we have to learn how to cultivate them in our lives. The relationship with yourself is something that you cultivate through inner dialogue, but the relationship that you might have with an intimate partner or with friends, with colleagues, with others who are supporting you, those are things you have to even more intentionally cultivate. And it can be a challenge, especially if we didn't really have that model growing up. But you have to learn that. And that's a blind spot you can have, even as an ambitious person. So let's talk about blind spot number 4. And we're talking about different ways that highly ambitious people can get caught in their own bullshit, and how basically you can hold yourself back from truly developing your full potential. All this is in context of this new training I'm doing within the next few days. It's called Leveling Up Your Life, and we're talking about how to level up your physical, your mental, and your financial potential. If you want to learn more about that, you can go to alphamentorship.com/training. And all the things we're talking about today, we're going to expand upon them in that training. But we've talked about blind spots. We've talked about your body, your mind, your relationships. I mean, your wallet is a big blind spot too, and that's the 4th real blind spot we'll talk about. There are many blind spots, but these are the big ones. Most people don't understand personal finance deep down. And I'm certainly not saying I'm an expert in this, by the way. I'm still learning. I'm always learning. But most people they don't understand personal finance. They never have taken a single real class on how to organize money. The extent of their knowledge might go to what they learned in elementary school or high school with numbers. And because they don't have that basic understanding of, how to save, what interest is, how credit works, how to do basic financial transactions, that keeps them locked in a position where they can really only take uh, handouts from others. That's what keeps most people locked in their 9-to-5 job, because the second piece of the wallet, having that as a blind spot, is you don't really understand the physics of wealth. If you don't understand basic personal finance, you won't understand how to get wealthy. Basic personal finance is like about keeping the system running. The physics of getting wealthy is using that system and using it to multiply itself. And so most people don't understand how to start a business with a skill or an idea, especially in 2021, and turn that into a system that generates cash. And you use that cash to improve your personal finances. There's a system here. If you don't understand personal finances first and foremost, it's going to be difficult to understand and to implement on business strategy. And really, all of this creates limiting beliefs around what we can and can't do. Many of us, even highly ambitious people, have limiting beliefs around money, around success, around what they're capable of. And that stuff is verified and backed up when you don't understand personal finance and don't understand business. So that's a blind spot as well. And so even if you are ambitious and you are smart, if you don't overcome that blind spot, you won't be able to move past it. And so those are your blind spots. Your body, your mind, your wallet, and your relationships. And just thinking about those elements and thinking about where you personally in your life are with regards to those areas will help you to start thinking of some areas where you can change, or conversations you need to have, or things you need to start or end. Just thinking about, okay, where am I with my body and my physical appearance and my physical feeling, my health? Where am I with my mind? Where am I with my relationships? Where am I with my wallet? If you could just work on those areas, enough things will start to go right, that all the other little areas will begin to fall into line, right? What's up, Nick? And then the little things will start to fall into place, and you'll start to have more opportunities open up. If you find that you've gone too far down the path and you've only been focused on money and on your body for the past 5 years, you might be finding a strain on your physical and your mental your mental well-being and your social well-being, and those things will have to be corrected as well. So start with those points. The answer to solving these blind spots, well, there are some specific steps you can take. And on our call on Wednesday, you can check out the link in my bio or in this video. But on that call, we're going to go over what these blind spots are again, and then what the solution is to solving each of these blind spots. How should you improve your body? How should you improve your mind? How should you improve your relationships? How should you improve your business and your financial savvy? And exactly what to do to make that a reality. that's in a nutshell. Someone emailed me the other day and they said, this is a lot of ground to cover in like an hour when you do your real presentation. How are you going to cover these 4 big areas in an hour? And I said, well, it's going to be a tight squeeze. There's a lot of info, but check it out if you haven't already. Hope this was useful to you to get you thinking about how you're going to level up your life. And if you want more information, again, check out alphamentorship.com/training. That's where the link for the live training will be. And we'll probably post some sort of like replay or redirect there at some point once that's over. So no matter when you're watching this, go there and check it out. All right. That's all I got for you today. And I look forward to seeing you on this week's training. Later.